fellow book lovers, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm C, also known as Sierra, and today we're going to be doing my March reading recap. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to do a little change to my intros in the fact that I write out all my scripts because I have a lot of anxiety and it helps me to have something that I've focused on. I've made sure I know exactly what I'm going to say, and it makes it easier and smoother so I'm not wasting hours of my day trying to figure out the right words. So that being said, I do feel like my videos lose a lot of spontaneity and like on the spot moments. So every day, every video that I make now, I'm going to do a quick little snapshot of my current reads. So let's start again. Hey book lovers, welcome back to my channel. I'm C, also known as Sierra, and I am currently reading Summer's Revenge by Emma K.C. Coet. I think that's how you'd say it. I am about 114 pages in. I guess not about, I am 114 pages in. I'm reading this with a friend of mine. This is a book that the author reached out to me to read, and I'm really excited to get into it. I'm liking it a lot so far, and I'm not super far into it, but I do think it's going in a really good direction, and I'm excited to read more. Okay, and now we move into my March reading recap. March was a slower month for me reading-wise just because I did go to Japan. If you guys want to see the vlog video or my start to my stationery haul video, those are all either out or coming out really soon after this video. But what I'm saying is there are videos showing that. But moving on today, because of that, I didn't get a lot of reading done because I was on a trip. So this is a kind of shorter reading recap, and we will get into all of the books that I read now. My first book of the month was The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. This was an ARC at the time that I was reading it, and I gave it a 5-star read, and it is my favorite read of the month and my only 5-star for the month. This one is a cozy young adult read of this teenage girl going through heartbreak, and she spends the summer helping her great aunt help fix up her bed and breakfast. I love a good cozy read, and I feel like Sarah Beth Durst always manages to do those really, really well. She adds so much whimsy with just such small details to her stories. I thought this was a really great read. At the beginning, the first few chapters, I felt like it was a little too teeny, and I was not interested in the teen drama, but as we got into it, I felt like there was more of a story there, and she just has such a great way of pulling you into the plot and atmosphere of her stories, so I really like this one and I would recommend. Next up was another ARC, and that is Empire of Flame and Thorns by Marion Backwood. This was a 3.5-star read for me, and I felt like this was a very typical fantasy book. It kept a lot of those same elements that I feel like you see a lot in fantasy books, and because of that, I just feel like I didn't get to see enough of the author's voice or uniqueness to it. This book has a lot of great features that I think can be pretty unique if used correctly, and that includes things like deadly trials and enemies to lovers. However, the way they did utilize it felt a little repetitive as someone who reads quite a bit of fantasy. I do think that she is really good at pulling you into the atmosphere and making you feel immersed in it. I'm not sure that this was my type of read just because I have read so many books like it. I do think I'll check out if book 2 is any better because it really seems like it's ramping up to a more unique, more interesting book 2. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to see the description of the book to see if that's more my style. Next up is Crown of Olympus by Kate Asher. I received the ARC for book 2, Blood of Olympus, from the same series, and I was preparing by reading this one because I hadn't read it yet. I love mythology and I love powerful female main characters, and I feel like this book had a good amount of both. I think it was an interesting take on the mythology with the deadly trials and things like that. And our main character, she's powerful and like standoffish. She doesn't want to get too close to anyone. I thought they were very interesting features of it, and it made me very compelled to keep reading. That being said, the reason it's a little bit lower on the star rating is because, kind of like Empire of Flame and Thorns, I did feel like there were times it felt more like she was checking off boxes of what she needed to describe or needed to say in her book to give us the correct amount of scene and things like that, and it felt like it was lacking her voice a little bit. That being said, it was a very interesting plot, and I was very eager to start book 2, and I started it immediately after. So I do think I would recommend it. Next up is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. If you don't know, I now host a book club on Fable called a Book Journalers Book Club. And that is because we all try to make a book journaling page or spread after each book that we read together, and then I do a collaborative post where we post all of our beautiful journal spreads for the same book, and I think that's really fun, and we get to talk together about the book, etc., etc. If you want to join, message me over on Instagram at seas.library. Otherwise, I'm just mentioning that because this is our first book that we've chosen for March. I gave Our Infinite Fates a 3-star rating. I think this story is about love and loss in a lot of ways. I think it has some beautiful quotes to it, and it has a more poetical way of the writing style in general. That being said, I don't think that this book was for me necessarily. I wasn't invested enough in it. I think people who like the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue would probably like this one a little bit more, just because it has that slower nature to it and more reflective nature to it rather than a lot of plot and action. But I personally enjoy a little bit more plot and action to my stories. The plot here is that our main characters, Evelyn and Arden, fall in love in every lifetime, and they kill each other in every lifetime. I think there's a very beautiful cyclical nature to books like these. However, at times it can also feel a little repetitive, and this one did feel like that for me. Next up would be Blood of Olympus by Kate Asher. And this is book 2 to the book with Crown of Olympus. And I did start it immediately after. Of course, I just had my book club read in between there because I was finishing it up, I think, the same day I was finishing Crown of Olympus. Anyways, that being said, this one was a 3.5-star read for me. I think my favorite part of this series and my favorite element has to be the amount of strong, snarky female characters. They are so fun to read, and their banter just makes it so enjoyable as a read. The writing kept a lot of that tension and raising the stakes more and more, which is what I enjoy in a second book in a series. I will say I still don't feel like I got to hear a lot of the author's voice in this one, and because the first one had the trials, I feel like the plot had clear direction, versus in this one, because there was no trials, I do feel like the plot was a little bit more wishy-washy, going any way that the author had just dreamt up instead of like a concise plot line. That being said, I didn't dislike the plot. I thought it still had a lot of good twists and turns that made it very interesting. I just do feel like I had less of a clue of where things were going, whereas in the trials, you know, it's this, then this, then this, then this. I'm still very appreciative of receiving this arc, and I just don't think that this is my type of book, and I will not be continuing the series, but I do think it's interesting, and I do think a lot of other readers will love it. Next up would be Moonflower by Shayna Anastasi. I hope I'm saying that right. But this was another arc I received, and this was a 4-star rating for me. This book is short, but still contains a lot of detail to it. It has a more darker fantasy slash horror element to it that maybe keeps you a little bit more on your toes. I do think that the plot picked up more towards the end and was pretty slow at the beginning of it. I thought that the characters were a little bit immature for their age, and it bothered me quite a bit, but I still felt pretty invested in our main character's story, and I do think I would read book 2, and I do think I'd recommend it, so that's the rating I gave it for this one. Next up is the Tea Dragon Tapestry by Kay O'Neill. This is another arc I read, and I've read all the rest of the series. This is the conclusion to it. I gave it a 4.75-star rating, and this is my second favorite read of the month. I cannot praise this series enough. The art is so beautiful and whimsy and soft, and the plots are always so gentle and healing in ways that you feel like you're wrapped up in a warm blanket. I honestly think this was a great conclusion to the series. Our characters from book 1, Greta and Minette, are back in action in this one. Greta is trying to become an apprentice to a blacksmith and doing this kind of trial to show what she can do, while also trying to help her tea dragon work through grief. Then we have Minette, who is conflicted in her path in life, and she's trying to understand all the changes that have come throughout her life. So while Greta is trying to learn how to be there for the people she loves, Minette is learning to love her journey and appreciate all the steps that come to being where she wants to be. It is a incredibly deep, profound, and beautiful story. As with the other books in this series, this book is so expansive and inclusive. The author just adds so many details that it makes this world feel so alive, so real. It is just so well done. I would highly recommend this series, and I will be keeping an eye out for more by this author. Next up will be The Underwood Tapes by Amanda DeWitt. This book was a 3-star read for me. I think it was a pretty well done book. It is a story of grief through this kind of mystery plot and also a little fantasy element of talking to someone from the past. My biggest qualm with it is that the mystery did feel a little bit unsatisfying at the end. I don't want to give away any spoilers for it, but it disappointed me the way it ended, and if it had ended differently, I think it would have been a much higher rating. I will also say that I think that the author had a hard time juggling the plot elements versus the internal struggles of grief. And at times I felt like it was really slow, and then we would get to the plot and it would be plot, plot, plot. And then we'd go back to the grief where I would have liked it to be more seamlessly integrated into it. I think that the writing of this was good, and I really liked the characters and their connections to each other. I just would have liked a little bit more from this one, but I'm still glad I read it. Okay, the next 5 are all manga, and they're all arcs that I received. So I'm going to try to go through these ones a little bit quicker because manga is pretty short compared to the other books. So just be prepared for a little bit faster pace here. Next up is Honeybee and Lemon Balm, and this was a 3.5-star rating for me. This was a sweet and light read, but I think this book, I'm pretty sure that this book is only supposed to have 3 volumes, and it just lacked enough plot for me to really connect too much with it to understand where it's going to go. I don't think that this one hooked me enough to continue with the series, but I am glad that I tried it out and saw what it was about. Next up is Drawing from Your Memory, and this was a 4-star rating for me. This one is a time loop story about a girl who was friends with this guy in the manga club, and he passed away, and she took his notes about his stories and she made them into a hit manga. Anyways, because of that, she feels a lot of guilt towards him, and in these time loops, she is trying to help him get his name out there, trying to help him publish before he passes. I think it's an interesting concept. I thought it was really intriguing, and I do think I check out more from it. I don't think I got there's only one time loop in that one, so I'm waiting for a little bit more to see how the time loop effect will play into this, but I am going to keep reading this one. Next up, and this is a long title one, is Perfectly Fine on My Own, So My Fiance Can Twist in the Wind, and this was a 4.5-star rating for me. I thought that this one gave us a really good picture of the dynamics in play for a first volume, and it held so much to it. So we have this girl who she feels like her fiance is more interested in the princess than her, so she kind of decides, oh well, I'm just gonna start being independent and loving my life the way it is. And I feel really proud of her. And that's kind of crazy because it's just one volume, but I feel really happy to see someone who's so independent and strong on their own. And I'm not going to spoil anything else about this one, but I am going to keep reading it. Next up is Marrying the Dark Knight for Her Money. And this is a sapphic one that kind of follows a lot of other plots from mangas where it's the arranged or forced marriage where she has to marry someone that no one else in the world wants to marry, and that is the Dark Knight. But in this case, it is a woman, so it feels a lot more like a fresh take, unique take on it. I love the representation of her because she still has that standoffish, brutish personality, but we're starting to see her vulnerabilities in it and seeing that she does have a heart and things like that. I don't know. I did enjoy it. I will probably continue reading it. Next up, and this was my favorite manga that I read of them, and that is Cat Life Balance, and I gave it a 4.5-star rating. This one is a kind of workplace rom-com one where our female main character, she is a little bit socially inept and really loves cats. And our male main character, he is a princely type who always is helping others and kind of a bit of a pushover. So I'm loving their dynamic. I'm loving seeing how they come to be friends right now. I think it's really interesting. I think it's cute the way that the cats are depicted, and kind of somewhat I'm learning about cats through it. So I thought it was very cool, and I would recommend, and I will keep reading. And there is my March reading recap. I always do a monthly recap like this, so if that is your thing, stay tuned for more, like and subscribe, all of that jazz. And I also post a lot of other bookish and journaling content. So If you are new here, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can see my next post. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite March read was and if there's any that should go on my radar to read. Until next time, happy reading!